Warning, we are a spoiler-based podcast. At times, we are also an offensive podcast, and we are most certainly a verbally explicit podcast. So if you fear for any of your delicate sensibilities, please back up now before you reach the point of no return. This is your final warning.
Welcome to another episode of Cinematic Anarchy, where the movies are all right.
The movies are great.
Well, this week the movie's great. But for the most part, the movies were all right. I mean,
we can put it on a solid okay average.
Yeah, though we have a couple movies that brought that bell curve way the fuck down for that first year. The movie that shall not be named. Then there's Hobgoblins, and there were some movies that just... when you're talking about trash cinema, we've watched some of the trashiest.
Yeah, we will go down in history. I've taken so many for the team. So many.
More than we probably should have. But, at the very least,
definitely.
We've ruined some movies that you should never, ever try to see or spend your money on. If it's free on Prime, fall asleep drunk or high to it one night, but never never purchase it. Never. So this week we are two-man cast. We have Mr. Omar here today. That is all.
That is me. What's left of me, which ain't much, but it goes a long way.
This time of year, as we well know, is very difficult to get anything done at all. So, and today we're going to be talking about a Robert De Niro, Nick Nolte classic, Cape Fear. That's Robert De Niro, Nick Nolte, is that Jessica Lange, I believe? And Juliette Lewis.
Definitely.
And
actually, Juliette Lewis is the opening scene of it.
And making a cameo in this movie, the guy from the original version of Cape Fear, what's his name? Is it Robert Mitchum? Is that what his name is?
Robert Mitchum. Interesting anecdote about that movie. I didn't know that it was a remake until a year after it had come out, and I had watched it a few times. Because it's a movie that I love. Since way back when, but I never knew it was a remake until I will say the mid to late 90s is when I learned it was a remake, and I watched it, and I could understand where probably that was like their original like revenge movie. After that is when they started making all this movie when the next one comes to take revenge on either a judge, a cop, or a lawyer, or a prosecutor.
I want to say far and away, this is probably one of my favorite Robert De Niro performances. Like, right up there. I am neither here nor there on anybody else's performance in that movie. Like, Nick Nolte, you could have switched him out. Jessica Lange, Juliette Lewis, you could have switched each and every one of them out, and the movie still would have been fucking fantastic because Robert De Niro did a perfect job.
Then you had, Nick Nolte. It was a hell of a movie, and it really, I will say, even without the people that were in it, it would have been a good movie because it's a great story. However, they put those people there, they blew it out the park.
I think Nick Nolte was still at the height of his career at this particular point, just before the downfall. The crazy, drunken Nolte.
I would say at the height of his acting skills also.
And also in this movie, the guy that starred opposite Robert Mitchum, Gregory Peck, was also in the movie.
Yeah, Gregory Peck was in it.
So, my brain is just not working very well today. So, Robert De Niro played Max Cady. He's a convicted rapist that was released from prison after serving a 14-year sentence. He ends up stalking the family of the lawyer who originally defended him.
Yeah.
Because the lawyer who originally defended him, played by Nick Nolte, basically sold him down the river.
In a manner of speaking.
Not only sold him down the river, but sent him down the river in the movie. So,
Yeah, he pretty much did.
he both metaphorically and physically got sent down the river.
Yeah, he got sent down the river. He got double sent.
I think, honestly, I would put that right up there with his performance in Taxi Driver and Raging Bull.
I agree.
That's
very dramatic performance.
I'd say that's probably my top 3 for Robert De Niro right there. Is you got...
Yeah, well, other than Taxi Driver and that, I haven't seen him play a lot of mentally disturbed individuals, though.
Raging Bull was a really good movie for him. I'm mentally disturbed.
But he was very depressed. I wouldn't say mentally disturbed, just a profoundly depressed guy.
I'm just talking like performance-wise, like what was a decent role for him.
No, I'm talking about the kind of role. Yeah, performance-wise was great. Robert De Niro can do no wrong in my book. He's anything. He's done comedies. He's done drama. He's done suspense.
There's only, I think, one movie with Robert De Niro in it that I could not watch. It was just, as far as I was concerned, it was sort of pure trash. And it wasn't because of Robert De Niro. It was because he was starring opposite John Travolta. If you ever get a chance to watch this movie, it's The Killing Season, starring John Travolta and Robert De Niro. Not a good movie at all.
Sounds familiar, but kind of doesn't. I will have to look it up and see the trailer, and I'm sure the trailer will tell me that is ass, and I won't want to see that.
Yeah, it's just one of those films that you watch, and then you sit back for about 5 seconds and you breathe, and you say, you know what? I made it through the movie, but fuck, I don't know why I bothered to sit through that. Yeah, I say that about a lot of John Travolta movies. There's a lot of movies that John Travolta has done recently that I just... oof.
Yeah.
I'm not a Travolta fan at all. Just not. I'm physically looking right now, trying to find anything that might put him on the physically creepy list. I mean, you know what? I forgot. He actually did a very good job opposite Robin Williams in Awakenings. That was a really good movie of his. That not a mentally disturbed guy by any stretch of the imagination, but that was actually a fairly good film for him.
It was. Definitely. What will be your favorite De Niro? We will have to say non-gangster performance because he's done so much of that. And
so outside of gangster
movies, because he's been praised for so much of that. It will be, I guess, too redundant to talk about that.
I would say one of my favorite roles of his is Michael in Deer Hunter.
You'd be surprised. And I keep forgetting the name of the movie for whatever reason. But he was with Champagne and they were escaped prisoners. Posing as priests. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou, isn't it?
No, We're No Angels.
We're No Angels, yes. That was crazy.
They both play, I want to say they're both supposed to be wise guys that are hiding out as priests.
Yeah. It was kind of a gangster movie, but the comedic performance was crazy.
It was... I want to say that that movie was the whole reason why Sister Act even existed. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. I believe it was not only a very funny movie, but I don't think before that he's shown any comedic anything before that movie that I know of or I can remember.
Uh, I don't think he did much in the way he did do the original version of King of Comedy before they did the newest version. So he did both versions of King of Comedy. He did a semi-comedic movie. I want to say it was sort of comedic sci-fi in Brazil, which was back in 1985. That movie, We're No Angels, was probably the second big comedic movie. Midnight Run, which was half comedic, it was like a action comedy, I believe, starring him and Charles Grodin. Was a pretty big, I want to say, an action comedy film just before they did We're No Angels.
Yeah. We're No Angels so crazy.
So he did have a few things that I would call comedy, or I would call a blah, 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 blah. He's always had sort of a comedic flair. He's always been the straight guy in the comedy movie, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely. I can pin down it, because King of Comedy, yes, it was funny, but it was kind of dramatic also.
I want to say
it was sad in a way.
It's a dramedy.
Yeah, it was sad in a way, but pure comedy. By the time he did analyze this, they couldn't have chosen a better person to do it because he has done comedy and he has done the gangster stuff.
But no, he's well known as a gangster film actor. I mean, like, even some of his comedies revolve around him being a gangster. He's that guy. Heck, even we've cast him as a gangster in a couple movies. A couple of our pitch storms.
Yeah. Definitely. Because he has played cops, good cops and corrupt cops.
What would you say is your favorite comedic performance for him?
That one. That same one. We're No Angels. Which it wasn't that much humorous, but it was a great comedy movie. And I get him, his stern kind of personality made it even funnier.
So for him, I have two comedy movies that I feel are probably two of his greatest comedic performances anyway.
Oh, the one with Eddie Murphy. That was crazy too. He did something with Eddie Murphy.
Did he?
Yep.
What did he do with Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy was kind of a ride-along for a cop. For a movie, I believe. Let me look up the movie. I don't remember.
You're not mixing up him with Nick Nolte in 48 Hours, are you?
No, because he was in 48 Hours. He was a real cop.
Okay. I'm looking at it and I don't actually see it. Well, I'll tell you my two while you're trying to look it up.
Yeah.
So, two kind of under the radar comedic performances for him. One of them was Mad Dog and Glory. Starring him, Uma Thurman, and Bill Murray. One of my favorite performances for him. Where he sort of plays like the overbearing boyfriend of... He's a Chicago detective. He's the overbearing boyfriend of Glory. No, my apologies. I'm reading this all wrong. Ignore me completely. Anyway, I loved the movie. He plays a crime boss. Does he play a crime boss? Does he play a crime boss?
What's the name of the movie again?
Shy, soft-spoken Chicago detective Wayne Mad Dog Doby inadvertently saves the life of local gangster Frank Milo. He's reluctant to be the recipient of an unusual one-week gift, a thank you gift, which is a week with beautiful bartender named Glory. Yeah. Anyway, you walked away from
I
it.
don't remember that one. No.
You don't remember that? We should watch that at some point.
We definitely should. Sounds like a great story.
So Robert De Niro plays the shy detective, Wayne Mad Dog Dobie, right? And in this film, Bill Murray plays the gangster.
Oh. Yes. I want to watch that.
So it's sort of a role switch for him. The other one is another under-the-radar performance for him that nobody would really say, oh my god, that's the best comedic Robert De Niro performance. But his performance as fearless leader in the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie. I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
That was a rare moment for him.
That was... Him as fearless leader was like seeing Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face.
Yeah.
You don't see that kind of stuff very often, so when you get a straight-laced actor that decides to just, or Jack Nicholson as the Joker,
Well, Jack Nicholson wasn't too straight-laced.
He was... Well, I guess I want to say that he was more of a, as far as I was concerned anyway, like a serious actor. I really didn't see him as the Joker. I would never have seen him cast as the Joker up until they put him in the outfit.
Yeah. He did a pretty good Joker.
So yeah, that's kind of how I felt about that particular performance. I really liked him as fearless leader. Did you find your movie? Oh, I found it.
It's Showtime.
Showtime. Okay.
Yep. Showtime is basically Eddie Murphy goes as a ride-along, basically doing research for a role because he's about to play a cop. Either a show or a film. I don't remember. But, he annoys the hell out of Robert De Niro, which is the cop that's assigned,
I remember this film. They're both cops. So, Eddie Murphy kind of plays like this kind of loose... I don't want to call him a loose cannon, but he's like a really... He's a shoddy beat cop. And you have this kind of uptight detective played by Robert De Niro, and they're forced to team up together to be in a reality TV show. So they're both cops.
Oh, yeah. That's what it was.
But it was sort of
There's another one where Eddie Murphy plays somebody that's trying to play a cop. And he gets sent out like a mission.
He's got a couple of movies. Eddie Murphy's got to stop playing people that are trying to play people. Just saying.
He's done that several times.
I mean, I really like Eddie Murphy, but I think his big problem was that he was he was trying too hard to be in a movie where he was every actor in the movie.
Well, I wouldn't say every actor, but a sizable quantity of them.
Well, I'm talking about that trifecta where you have the Nutty Professor, and then the Nutty Professor 2, and then he did Norbit.
Yeah, he tried too hard to do another Coming to America, I think.
Well, isn't there a sequel that's supposed to be coming out to Coming to America?
Well, yeah, that's what he should have done from the beginning instead of doing more movies where he plays everybody.
I mean, I kind of liked what he did with Coming to America, where both him and Arsenio not only played themselves, but they did small characters alongside of those. They were like little bits and pieces.
Well, because it's been too long. It's been too long for, to bring the same characters. I will say they will bring them as the same characters, but not as the central characters of the movie, because it's too long.
Right. No, and Eddie Murphy's got some of my favorite performances too. I liked Holy Man. He was really good in that movie.
It was like the swinging preacher.
Yep. Bowfinger was a great movie.
Oh yeah.
Him and Steve Martin. That's another team that I never would have seen. I think, is it Metro that you were talking about? The other movie where he tried to pretend to be a cop?
That's another one, yeah. That's the one. Metro. I confused them.
By far one of the worst films I have ever seen him in. A Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh, that was just hot garbage.
That was probably one of the most horrendous films I've ever seen Eddie Murphy.
And I think it was mostly because those of us that at the time the movie came out considered Brooklyn home, we had high expectations for that piece of shit.
Oh, if you have high expectations,
the expectations were too high.
If you have high expectations for Eddie Murphy as a mullet-wearing vampire, you got issues. You saw that
It wasn't
hairdo.
a mullet.
Oh, yes, it was. Look at the picture for the movie. Just
That's
look
not
at
a mullet. He has long hair all permed out, but it's not a mullet.
Oh, it was a mullet. Just I was just looking at the picture. That was a mullet if I had ever seen one. That was like a Billy. That was almost. It looked almost like a. I guess it looks. Maybe it is slicked back. Like the three pictures I saw, it looked like a mullet. But he looked like he was wearing almost a.
No, that's what basically.
And
international men of leisure, what you would know as pimps, used to wear in the 80s, like early to mid 80s. You will recognize somebody from a distance. Be a pimp.
That movie was also, as far as I'm concerned, the death knell for Kadeem Hardison's film career.
And he wasn't a bad actor, but yeah, that was hot garbage.
Well, I think he got 2 movies out before his career went south. I mean, I think it was this, and then, if I'm not mistaken, what was it? The Sixth Man was another movie of his.
Yeah, I think he did that too. I don't remember which one came first, but I don't know. I guess he chose movies way too quick.
He was in a lot of, he was a bit player in a lot of movies, but I think that was the last couple of times that he got to be, the lead role in something that would have been considered a blockbuster film.
Yeah.
Everything else that he was in, he kind of played a bit character. He's been in so many things that I didn't even realize that he was in. I had no idea that he was in Showtime. At all. Nope.
Yeah.
I've seen the movie and I don't remember him in it.
He was.
He was apparently in the Crow TV show for the 2 years that it ran. Watched it. Don't remember him in it. I remember.
What was the TV show?
The Crow. There was a TV show. It was only 2 years long.
Probably why I don't know it.
Well, I mean, let's be entirely honest. Did we need a Crow television show? I mean, I watched it, but did we need it?
Nope. I don't think. I think they overplayed that hand.
The Brandon Lee was good for what he was, and to this day, anybody that hears me say these words that I'm about to say next curses me up and down. That movie, The Crow, sucked. It was not a good movie.
I didn't care for it.
The only reason why that movie got as much popularity, it got as much press as it did, it got as much box office as it did, is because of Brandon Lee's death. And so there was this whole...
Well, it had a lot of hype because of who Brandon Lee that was.
Right.
It's like Dan Jr. running for president in 2024. The only reason anybody will care to even hear what he has to say is because,
But it was a tremendously bad movie. And here's my thought. The reason why I was wondering why it's not a good movie. I'm wondering if it would have been as popular or had been as... I want to say big a thing or as iconic a movie if Brandon Lee had not died during the filming of it.
Now, somebody just sent me something.
Uh-oh.
I will share it with you later. It's a video of several instances of Steven Seagal running like a girl. And that was breaking news. Back to programming.
What movie were we watching that they were saying they were talking to the devil about Steven Seagal, like he had to have signed his soul away to be able to get a career. There's no way that there was not a contract with the devil involved there to have a movie career.
You can be a worse actor and martial artist than Dragon Wilson and have a career.
David Carradine was a much more convincing martial artist and actor than... I think Steven Seagal is what David Carradine would be if he had even less of a personality. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And I love David Carradine, don't get me wrong. Kung Fu the legend continues.
Yeah,
I mean,
but David Carradine was like a fake martial artist, just a martial artist for TV.
He was about as much a martial artist as, what's his name? Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan isn't a martial artist.
Oh, but he is.
Jackie Chan got into martial arts films, into kung fu films, via stage fighting. So he is not a classically trained martial artist from...
Yeah, but he is a martial artist. David Carradine never threw a kick in his life before he got casted for Kung Fu.
He got cast for the original Kung Fu series.
Yeah, for the show.
So we've gone way off topic here. We're supposed to be discussing Cape Fear, and we're talking about Kung Fu the Legend Continues. Like I said, with Cape Fear, I really feel like De Niro carried 90% of the film.
Definitely.
Juliette Lewis was certainly coming into her own at that point. She was charismatic, but I don't think there was enough pull for her there outside of being what she was for a long time. She was this... she played this little girl in, like, everything. She had that little girl kind of innocent demeanor, and that's what she played, and she played it well in most movies that she was in.
Yeah.
And she did that to a T in this movie. And probably the creepiest thing that I ever saw was Juliette Lewis kissing Robert De Niro. Just, set off all sorts of creep vibes. I think that the accent that he pulled off in this movie, De Niro did a really good job. I did not expect that, like, when I first watched the movie, that accent out of him, because I was used to seeing him in different types of films. He had that kind of gangster thing going in most films that I had seen him in. So yeah, watching him in this was definitely new for me when I saw it at first. I relived it watching it again for the podcast, and I think the movie still holds up.
Oh yeah, it's a great movie. That's one of those movies that doesn't get old for me.
And that's tough to say about a lot of movies that were done in the 80s. Oh wait, is this 80s? This is 90s, right? My apologies.
Cape Fear?
Cape Fear.
I think it's late 80s.
I'm gonna sit here and shoot myself in the foot because I just watched this fucking movie for the damn podcast, and I'm like, did I come prepared? No, fuck no. It was actually 91. 1991.
So it came out like after Goodfellas, then.
Yes. So see, I come well prepared for this podcast. At all times, I come in and I'm like, yeah, I've got everything in front of me, don't I? No, we're Googling shit left and right. I didn't even brush my hair. Thank God I didn't. We're not video conferencing this whole thing. No video, just nothing. Though it does make me want to go watch the original version of Cape Fear. I'm very interested. I'm going to go rent it from Prime to go watch the original version with Gregory Peck and Robert Mitchum. So I think we're going to go. Cape Fear. I think we've talked enough about Cape Fear, right? Yeah. We can go to the break, come back.
Let's go talk about Cape Fearless now.
Cape Fearless. The sequel, Cape Fear, now it's Cape Fearless. With the psychological impact of the attack of Robert De Niro on Nick Nolte, which drives him to drink and ruin his career. Cape Fearless.
Pretty much. But I believe they should make a spoof out of that, though. They should have. I don't think they will make it now after so many years, but a spoof of that would have been dope.
A spoof? They do spoofs. There was a whole Simpsons episode based around Cape Fear, where
about a movie.
Oh, a movie spoof. Well, I mean, who's to say that you can't do a spoof movie now about a movie in the 80s or the 90s?
Probably so, because it's a famous, very classic movie that most people will recognize when they see it. Also, it should be done by the same people probably that made The Naked Gun, or by the Wayans brothers.
Oh yeah, I would say no, not the Wayans brothers. Who's the? I'm gonna find out. We're gonna be right back with. We're gonna do some loaded questions. We're gonna go to our sponsors real quick, and when we come back, I'm gonna figure out the name of these guys because I think they would be perfect doing a spoof. I like the Wayans brothers. Don't get me wrong, but I think for this kind of spoof, there's a different. I think they're brothers too. But give me a minute. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, and thank you for sitting through our sponsors. As always, we always thank you for sitting through the commercials because I know that we live in a DVR and TiVo world, and you can get rid of those commercials and don't have to fucking deal with them in your real life. So why the hell are you going to listen to them during the podcast? Well, you listen to them because Anchor, the people that distribute our podcast, they are our fucking sponsors, and if you don't listen to them, they don't pay us. So if you're still here, you listen to them, you paid us. Thank you very much for the penny. I believe that's what we're getting per listen right now. 1 penny. So they say every penny counts. So keep listening because it does. It really does. It adds up. And we've come back, and I actually have the name of the directors and the writer and directors, the Farley brothers. Bobby and Peter Farley, the guys that did Dumb and Dumber. There's Something About Mary, the movie 43. They did the Three Stooges movie, Hall Pass. They did Stuck to You, Shallow Hal, and Osmosis Jones. So those are some of their biggest movies. Me, Myself, and Irene is a good one. Outside Providence. So I think these guys would be great at taking. I want to say old Robert De Niro films and just doing a spoof of Robert De Niro films.
Definitely.
I think that they would be fantastic for that. Now here's the thing. There's a guy that I would love to cast in a movie that spoofs Robert De Niro films. And I forget his last name. I mispronounce it all the fucking time. I'm going to look it up because I don't want to butcher his name.
This is Cinematic Anarchy. Butcher it first, then look it up.
Right. Well, this is why we call ourselves Cinematic Anarchy, because we are completely and utterly unfucking prepared most times. Because remember what happened the one time that we came completely prepared for the podcast? What happened?
Yeah, it was the most boring podcast ever.
And it still exists. We didn't get rid of it because we don't edit. We just throw whatever shit out there that we do and hope that it fucking sticks like spaghetti to the wall. Wet spaghetti. It's
crazy because I could hear it now when I know it's us. However, it sounds like some other people did it.
So the actor that I would like to play Robert De Niro in a Robert De Niro spoof movie, Milo Ventimiglia.
Oh yeah.
Even though that they try to use him for like a replacement Stallone in a couple of movies because of that lip thing that he's got going on.
Yep.
I really think that he would do a good De Niro. Like, I wouldn't say like the best De Niro impression, but I think that he'd do a good spoof De Niro.
Definitely would.
So I think, yeah, have him cast as the spoof De Niro, and then we'll throw the Farley brothers in there as the director/writer, and maybe we can even have the Farley brothers team up with the Wayans brothers and see what happens. Yep. You know, that might breed something horrendous. It may be horrible. It may be absolutely terrible, but I would watch it because I love fucking bad movies. Moving on, we are going to go the latter half of our podcast. We're gonna slow burn this because it's a 2-man podcast, and that's how this happens. We have
going out into the wilderness.
Right. We have Loaded Questions, the Party Edition.
Okay.
And, apparently, this is a party of 2. So
the Sausage Party Edition.
We're not crossing swords. You don't cross the streams. No, we're not crossing swords here, dude. All right. What is something that you should know more about but you don't? What is something you should know more about but you don't?
Something I should know more about that I don't?
Yes. U.S. history. I should know more about U.S. history, but I don't.
I actually know quite a bit. What should I know about more that I don't? I'm not sure if I should, but I basically excuse myself out of a lot of conversations about football because I don't know if it's so much that I don't know as much as I don't care for it as much. A lot of my guy friends.
I'm right there with you, only because of the fact that I was raised on music and films, not sports.
Oh, sports was big in my household, along with music. We were raised in music and sports. However, to me, football was very secondary.
There's a lot of sports
Baseball
that I like.
King.
I enjoy watching. Honestly, I know this is not a popular opinion, but I'd prefer to watch baseball over football.
Well, growing up, us being Dominican, baseball was king in our family, all across the board. And also, being that we were growing up in the hood, basketball was second to it, because it was part of our environment more than football. However, we knew how to play, we played well, but we never cared about watching football games.
I want to say, New England wise, I don't outside of the fact that obviously we had the Patriots up here.
Yeah.
I want to say that I felt that there is not as much of a football culture up here as there is down in the southern areas of the United States.
Well, we both lived down there, you in Georgia, me in Florida. And compared to how they are about football down there, both professional and college, they're pretty obsessive.
Well, professional football in Georgia versus college football in Georgia, there's no comparison. They were not cheering for the fucking Falcons. But when a UGA game came around, I lived right next to Athens, Georgia, and when the UGA game came around, or we were playing against Florida or whatever, the place erupted. I mean, you couldn't friggin' drive down the streets because there were too many damn people in the streets.
They're obsessive with their college sports down south.
So yeah, I mean, college sports are a big part of culture in the well, for lack of a better word to say it, the Rust and the Bible Belt. It is a big part of the culture.
Christian country.
New England, I want to say, is just not. I think it feels more like a hockey and baseball area up here.
Yeah, up here people are more serious about baseball, and because it's a New England thing that they take their sports very seriously, I guess football goes right along with it.
I want to say that I haven't seen a lot of people really serious about basketball since we lost that trifecta a while back. At least not about Boston basketball. We lost.
They have been after. You're talking about when Larry Bird and McHale and Robert Parrish back then.
That trifecta.
They had a few pretty good ones. When Kevin Garnett played for Boston, there's also Paul Pierce in that team at that time. But it wasn't as big as that, but.
It wasn't that they were about basketball. It's not that we had a lot of people that were like, "Yeah, we're going to watch we're going to watch the Celtics." No, they were going to watch Pierce, or they were going to watch Garnett. That's who they were going to watch, the individual player. The last time anybody was really,
a lot about that.
Huh?
In recent years, basketball has become a lot about that, not so much about teams.
Yeah, I want to say that's what. When you're talking about like the Red Sox, you're talking about the Bruins. People are cheering for the team, but basketball lately has been about individuals. It's been about the individual performers.
They might as well play. Yeah, they might as well play 1-on-1, 21, on-site court.
So a lot of egos in basketball right now. Thankfully, NBA not one of our sponsors right now. Otherwise, they'd be.
Yeah, we wouldn't be talking about this.
Right.
We definitely would have had a different conversation about it. Basketball, number one. Right. But I feel it's growing up on sports. I feel they used to be teams, and they used to be combination of players. As much as you had your favorite player, you couldn't see the player without a certain teammate. It was Magic and Kareem. It was Larry Bird and Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale. And Knicks had Don Starks and Patrick Ewing, and that's how it was. You couldn't see that your favorite player. You couldn't see him without. You couldn't see Batman without Robin.
No, and I mean Jordan. Even though Jordan was a big thing, that whole team right there. You had like just a group of people between Pippen, Jordan, and Rodman at that point. You know.
Yeah, and even before Rodman came, the whole and that's also what sports has became. You had leaders that elevated their teammates' game.
Exactly.
You don't have that now.
No, you've got a leader that leads but leaves his teammates behind at this point. It's like I'm about my points, not about your points. Get the ball to me.
Yeah, it became stupid.
So, okay.
And now that we're on unpopular opinions, because a lot of people will try to argue this and say, "Oh no, you can be a LeBron fan all you want." I don't dislike him, but I don't think he would have done as great back in the day.
No, and it's because a lot of the teams are geared towards the individual players right now. That a lot of the plays are geared towards making sure to get the ball to that specific player on the team. Make sure that they score, make sure that they're able to get the rebound, whatever.
It's a lot like wrestling without the yelling.
I don't want to see him as a wrestler. I don't want to see any of the current NBA stars as wrestlers, though some of them are fairly well geared up for it already.
Yeah. Pretty tough.
I still, to this day, feel that Shaquille O'Neal at some point should have just taken a dive right into professional wrestling. Well, he had the charisma for it.
He did. He does. But he took a dive into law enforcement for a while.
Really?
Yeah, in between retiring from the NBA and becoming a sports commentator, he was a sheriff for a while.
Hold on a fucking minute. Can you imagine getting pulled over by Shaquille O'Neal? Can you imagine getting pulled over one evening and having this 7-foot Hulk just walk up to your car? You know how fast you were going?
Yeah, he's going, you know how fast you were going.
Okay, let's be entirely honest. If Shaquille O'Neal pulls me over, I'm going to laugh. I will laugh. Why? Because of all of the NBA stars out there, he is probably the most cuddly teddy bear of all the...
He's a very nice individual, actually. I saw him back in the day when I used to travel for work. I got to see him in a couple of airports, and he was very nice, very friendly, and people kind of left him alone. They didn't mob him, but people were saying hello, and he was very nice about it. He wasn't showing. I mean, if he was annoyed, he did a very good job at not showing it.
There's people that tried to become actors that shouldn't. Like, I mean, I get why Shaquille tried to become an actor. I don't understand why Rodman did. Rodman did not have that charisma at all. He didn't have the actor's charisma, is what I'm trying to say. He didn't even do very good as a fucking wrestler.
Here's what I think. I think it goes back to people, when they have money, they really think they could do anything.
Yeah, I guess that's...
So, I think it's a thing with people with money. Some will go into politics, and just because the education is lacking in certain countries, some people that should never go into politics end up becoming president.
Did we have to bring up Sergeant Cheeto Dust today? Cadet Bone Spurs? I don't want to deal with him. Let's keep him...
I wasn't pointing no elbows, but... Hey,
you can point the fake spray tan another direction. We don't need it. I don't want
the
it.
tiny glove, if the very, very, very tiny glove fits.
A man, no matter when he talks, he looks like he's sucking on a fucking lemon.
I know.
So, moving on. We've only answered one question. It took 15 minutes to get through that first question. So I wonder if all we have to ask is one more question. Maybe that's it. That was enough to generate near to 16 minutes worth of conversation. What is a strange activity to do with someone you just met? What is a strange... use a public restroom together.
Oh, like you go double dating, for example, and the girls just met each other because you're friends with the guy, and the easiest thing for two girls is they just met to go to the bathroom together.
Right.
Guys don't do that.
No,
sometimes guys met each other forever and they won't do that.
Guy gets up to go to the bathroom. If the other guy has to go to the bathroom, that second guy is always sitting down and waiting for the guy to come back. No, I'll hold it. I'll go after you come back. Just go. Well, why don't we go together? Because nope, just go.
Yeah, girls will go in packs. Guys won't.
Well, it's because they want to talk about us. They want to compare notes. That's why they go in packs.
You think that's why?
I think that's exactly why they go in pairs.
Yeah, but they also do it at other functions, not necessarily on a date.
Doesn't matter. They're still talking about us.
Yeah, they probably are.
That bathroom time, it's time for them to gossip. We don't have the girls on the podcast, so we can't confirm right now. We don't have Nicole or Spooky on the podcast tonight, so...
We need to park that question and consult with them and get their consensus on it.
Well, the question itself isn't the problem. It's the answer to the question. That was my answer to the question, using a public restroom together.
Yeah.
As a male, that's just not something you do with a guy that you just met.
Yeah, camping.
Camping?
Yeah.
Go camping with somebody you just met. Hey, how are you? You want to go camping? No.
Actually, I saw an ad on Craigslist once. One, person to go camping with. I'm like, who will do this?
Strange activity to do with somebody you just met. Share a meal.
It depends.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you mean by somebody you just met. Like, if you sit down, like, at a local McDonald's and somebody sits across from you, and you go, hey, you want to share these fries? Most people are going to be, I'm good. Thank you.
It's going to depend. I've shared my meals with a lot of strangers. But, if in situations when I'm not gonna let them stick their hand into my food because I don't know this person, but you know.
Who are you?
I have shared pizzas with homeless people.
Mutual masturbation. That's not something you do with somebody you just met. Hey, you know I just met you, but I need a little help with something.
I was thinking of ways where that would be an exception, and no, I can't think of any.
There's no real exception. Well, unless you're at like a swingers party, I guess. I mean, there's always a fucking exception to the rule. But I
don't know. I no.
You know, I'm not even at a swingers party. I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to pass here. Thank you. I don't know you. It's nice.
Even in my younger days of being dumb, young, dumb, and full of energy,
you could have said
certain conversations needed to happen a number of times before I touched somebody somewhere like that.
Shame on you, Omar. You censored yourself.
Young, dumb, and full of energy. That's what I always say, though.
Yeah, and you know what the regular term is, right? Young, dumb, and full of cum.
No, I'm full of that still. I'm just not young and dumb no more.
We don't have... it doesn't feel natural coming out... That kind of stuff doesn't feel natural coming out of my mouth, to be honest with you. It was good to have Seth on the podcast, because he would say things just... Where the fuck are you,
Some
Seth?
off-the-wall shit.
Just off-the-wall shit that, yeah, we were thinking, but we used him to say it, because let's just be honest, we wanted everybody to hate him, not us.
And nobody really did, because he pulled it off well.
Right. He was a charismatic
No, it's
asshole.
also good with habit. It's not a matter of so much of censoring yourself. There's just stuff you just don't bring yourself to talk about. Some of us are freer than others.
Okay, one more question. I think we're good after that. What involves a tremendous amount of concentration? I want to say... Huh? Go ahead.
Resizing a watch.
Resizing a watch?
As I recently learned to do it. I don't know if it was because I learned in my 40s, but I feel like that requires a lot of concentration.
Okay, resize. That's like concentration, but I want to say dexterity as well.
I mean...
Yeah?
I will have to do it a few thousand times before I don't need to concentrate to do it.
I've never resized a watch before, so I'm going to have to take your word on that. For me, what would require a tremendous amount of concentration is not... This is not right now, because my job right now I actually enjoy, but my job, the job that I did just before this, the job where I did nothing but tap a button all day long, staying awake doing that job required a tremendous amount of concentration on my part. Because, I mean, staring ahead at a screen all day long, watching numbers pass as you're tapping and tapping...
They let you guys listen to music while you guys were doing that, right?
No, actually. I mean, we could, but I had to use it because of the way that our job is set up. We were required to use a Discman. Couldn't use the phone, nothing like that. So I had to go out and buy friggin' CDs. I'm not spending money on CDs anymore.
Oh no!
No, I'm not buying CDs anymore. So what did I do? I did nothing. I just sat there all day long. I sang to myself. You remember? I marched in place at my desk to keep myself awake.
So with the CDs, it was an interesting story with me because I never really bought a lot of them. I jumped basically from cassettes and vinyl records to MP3s. I didn't care for CDs that much.
No?
Even for DJing, I didn't use a professional DJing CD player until you were able to put a memory. and play off of them.
I want to say that I haven't widely used CDs in a long time, like a really long time.
Well, I have used them. I never cared for them when they were big. I actually grabbed CDs like to sample off of them and make new music off of them. Like Booms had these little surprise boxes of bags, whatever, that you will buy. If in case anybody's listening to us outside of this area where we live, Booms is a place where you can buy records, you can buy comic books, you can buy everything related in between. It's basically a nerd store.
So there you go, Bull Moose. That's a plug for you nearing the end of our podcast. Pay us. Anyway,
I expect a discount, at least.
A discount of... I don't know if anybody at Bull Moose listens to us. I have actually given our information out to a few of the guys and girls there, but who fucking knows? I still feel like we need to get some business cards made up and just pass them around, try to get some recognition out there. We never did that. So that's what I'm doing. Our next round of money going out is going towards that. And Facebook, thankfully, is giving us $10 off a $30 promo. So,
yeah. However, Bull Moose Massive, if you're listening, show yourself. We want to shout you out at least. Plug or no plug.
Right. Well, hey, Bull Moose, I mean, honestly, if you I'd love to have them as a general sponsor, to be honest. Go ahead. I don't care, penny an episode. It's not a lot of money to invest in advertisement.
I will honestly say we both like. I'm sure probably Nico will like the place too. I know I bought books, records, I bought souvenirs for people. I bought a couple of things there. So, yeah, that would be cool.
Fair enough. All right. So I want to say that's going to be the end of our podcast today. We don't have natural endings to our podcast. We're just like, hey, we began. Now we're going to end. We're done.
Yeah. We began. We talk shit. We go.
So there's no smooth ending to our podcast. There never is. It's about as chaotic as it opens, and it is throughout. Just because...
And this is as screeching a halt as any other we've done.
We should just do that one evening. Just like stop the podcast, just like, and thank you for listening, and then just cut it off.
Bye.
Right there. Bye.
Yep. That will be cool.
People are in the middle. While we're in the middle, everybody's in the middle of talking. Just stop, like at a dead halt. Have a timer all set up that we can see, they can't. And once that timer hits 0, we all just stop talking and say bye, and just are done for the day.
Yep.
Leave them confused, like a cliffhanger. Like, was there supposed to be more there? Was that an editing mistake?
Yeah.
So,
yep, definitely. I would like that.
On behalf of myself and Omar,
and those teammates that are not here today, we'll miss you and love you guys. We catch us or we catch you next time.
It's that time of year where people need to take a little bit of downtime and breathe.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I realized in 2 years of doing the podcast, Omar? We haven't done a clip show.
Definitely. And I'm sure you have enough for 3 shows.
Well, probably at this point. Yeah, we're actually nearing episode 100. You know that?
Whoa.
So, yeah, on behalf of me and Omar, see you when we see you. Bye.
Yes, yo. Peace.